I'm a vehicle of my master, I feel. I do, and he was such a great master, the master of masters. So I'm doing that work.
I see it the same way, exactly the same way. I'm my master's disciple, and I'm doing my master's work. The same. It could have been me talking just now. I'm listening to you and going, I say that stuff because it's true. He was my master. He showed me this, and now I'm trying to show everybody else. Hello, Swaha.
Hey, hey.
Yeah. It's a bit like that, isn't it? I haven't really got much to say to someone who's awake.
Yeah, I was wondering about the same. Well, because I have nothing to say, but I got this question if you could do this, and I'm open, I'm open.
Yeah.
But I don't really have anything to talk about. But if this can be any help to anybody who is on the path or seeking or, on the way back to themselves, self-realization, love, consciousness, then it's great if this can be helpful. So that's why I'm here.
Same. Exactly the same. Yeah. There's no other reason for me to be here except to help people get free and find heart.
So it's nice to see each other then. Huh? You're on the other side. We are exactly on the opposite side of the planet Earth.
Yeah, we are, but the communication's instant.
Yeah.
So, Maitreya, you organised this. What did you have in mind?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering also.
Yeah, so you're both sanyassins of Osho. You're both very devoted to Osho. So that's the common link there. And I thought we could start by just talking about the fact that you've both had experiences with Osho when he was alive in his presence, where you noticed your mind going blank and going silent. And so I wanted to ask you both what you thought was happening on those occasions. What was your experience on those occasions when Osho silenced your minds?
It happened for me when I was speaking to him, when I interviewed him. I didn't know what enlightenment was, and I didn't know that he could stop my mind. But I'm reading the questions, and all of a sudden my mind is not thinking anymore, and I don't know what I've said and what the next word is. All I can see is the one word after the next word in the question that I've written down. And I'm in total no mind, and I have no idea what I've said and what I'm about to say. And I'd never experienced anything like it in my life. It just shocked me. But I kept reading it, and then after he answered the question, I started to repeat the same question, and he leant forward and said, "You're not listening to me." And it was like, whoa, because he was very powerful energetically.
Yes. You were sannyasin then when you came to Oregon?
Yeah, I took sannyas in 83, and I went to Oregon first in 84, and I interviewed him in 85 because I went there twice.
So that was the first time you saw him, or you were close to him?
The first time I got really close to him was 1985, and that was an interview, and I was, 9 feet away from him, sitting in front of him.
Yeah.
And he knocked me out.
I was there on the ranch, so you were fortunate.
Yes. I owned a publishing company in Fremantle, West Australia, and when I got there, I realised the National Guard were threatening, and so I rang up the New York Bulletin and asked them if they wanted a journalist to cover it for them, and they hired me on the spot. and sent a message to the ranch saying they had hired me, and that way I got the interview with Osho.
Good for you.
I thought so at the time. I still do. I mean, that guy changed my life incredibly. I thought I was going to become a politician, actually. That's where I was headed to, because I'd already retired as a businessman and I was young. And all of a sudden, my whole life is changing. Within a year, 9 months of talking to him, I walked into my offices and gave them, my staff, my whole companies, all my companies, just gave them away. Because I realised that being a businessman for 33 years, I had lost my heart. And Osho showed me my heart again, and I realised it's the only thing worth going for. There's nothing else worth anything here except heart. And so I gave my staff, my companies, I gave them the furniture, I gave them everything. I walked out broke, and then I took my shoes off and walked around Australia for 4 years looking for my heart, because I was out of touch with it. I was too closed. I wasn't open enough to perceive it. And so that was a pretty big change, I would say, because I went from Rolls Royce to pauper.
Yes. Well, I was just, I always been a wild and free spirit, I would say. So I was always looking for something that I didn't find in the Western society, you know. So in the hippie days and traveling to Morocco and then ending up in India, I was attracted to Himalayas. And then by the time I met Osho, which in those days he gave still sannyas. So when I was in front of him, he told me that no, you don't need to travel anymore, and you are home, and just stay here. So for me, it was like I've been waiting for this, you know, like on that level in the inner world. So I was, when I look back at it now, that's what I was longing for. That's what I was thirsty for, and he just catapulted me into a tremendous silent, no mind space there and then. And I was just in tears when he said, you are home, you don't need to travel anymore, just stay. Then I was, yes, 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 yes. So, and then I was also, soon after, I mean, we had to go through the different groups, therapy groups and meditation and all this for cleaning. But it wasn't much stuff there because I was young. I hadn't been in a society. I had never any ambition to be anybody. So I felt like I was a very good candidate for him.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I went through the mystery school. I went through the washing machine with Tirtha.
Yes.
Tirtha was my main teacher.
Yeah.
And after being with Tirtha and at the ranch in '85, within about a year and a half, I started having satori's. I started finding myself as the universe and nobody here. And it was like, wow, what the heck is this? You know, because you hear about it, but when it actually happens, you can't describe it. Because there's no way you can describe what's been found. And that set me on fire. That's why I gave up my companies, because I wanted to find more and more of that.
Well, I was always just in his garden, so I was very absorbed in it, I would say, when I look back at it, and also invited in to become one of his bodyguards. And I remember when Maitreya asked about no mind, then that first night when I came walking into his garden and in front of his room, then for me it was like it was dripping from the trees. It was totally delicious nectar dripping, just like in an Avatar movie, you know. That was the feeling then, the shock of coming close to him and being around him. Of course, this doesn't stay just like a satori or just an insight, but that was the climate I felt around the beloved master, you know. It was just thick of nectar.
When you were a bodyguard, were you one of the bodyguards on the stage with him with a Uzi?
No, no, no. I wasn't. That was in Oregon, no. This was in Puna 1, which was when it was more his lovers, his people, you know, the heart. On the ranch in Oregon, then I wasn't part of that. I was a rebel, you know, so I was an outsider in a way. I wasn't one of those who was licking the ass of Sheila and this, no. So I was always hanging in a thin thread. In fact, Osho himself saved me. They wanted to kick me out of the ranch. And I got the message that I should go. And then when I was on the bus, then I got the message to come to Jesus Grove to see Sheila. And then she told me that we have changed. We give you another chance. You can stay. And that 10 years later, I found out that that was Osho, when I heard it from somebody from his house. So I couldn't believe it, you know, like how that could happen. But
I think only the rebels have a chance. I think that only the rebels really have a chance of finding home. And you actually have to be a rebel. You can't not be a rebel. And the rebels are reasonably hard to manage.
they are.
I, like you, have always been a rebel. I was in more trouble. I was the kid at school that was in trouble every single day. In kindergarten, I got thrown out of 4 of them. I've always liked trouble. When I started listening to Osho, I realized I was listening to a rebel, and I just wanted to listen to more and more and more.
I guess that's why he took care also of this one, you know, when I was on the It happened also in Pune, when I was one of the bodyguards there, in Pune 1, that was. Because we had I loved the night shift, because then it was just silence, and I could meditate outside his room, outside his window, and the whole ashram was sleeping. So for me, when I look back to that now, that was like the perfect place, because I was only with my master meditating, no?
In the presence and being close to the presence.
Yes, but then we had a samurai party. We called the guards the samurais, no? They had a party outside in the night, and you were not allowed to leave your duty, no, in the night. So we had 1 hour break in the night, but I could not resist going to check out that party, no. So I took my motorbike, my bullet, outside, and I went to say hi, had a few dances, had a beer, came back. And then it was one sanyassin, a German, of course, who was there, who was having my space. And then he said, you had been outside. And then he told this to the government, to Vidya and the people in the office, yeah, because that was a no-no. And then I got a major hit from the office, and said that from now on, if you don't need that break in the night to rest, then you don't have it. We take it away, no? And any more trouble, you are out. And then a few days later, I got called to the Lao Tzu gate because I was inside his house. And then this Vidya, I don't know if you remember, but she was one of Sheila's people. She came to the gate and she excused herself profoundly, you know, like, I should not get involved and blah, blah, blah. And I didn't understand, what is this all about, you know, like, for me, she was one of the rulers, no? And then she came and excused herself to me. And then I heard from Vivek later, who was Osho's partner, that she told him what had happened, no? And again then, he saved one of a rebel, you know. So everything is upside down with these people, which I know now, you know. Now I love my rebels, yeah, who are with me. But you are always an outsider, no? So he saved me. He saved me like in that way also, with the personal interference a few times. So it's unbelievable, you know. Unbelievable.
Actually, really beautiful.
Yeah.
Really beautiful. Yeah. Yeah, I had trouble. I had trouble with the management as well, but my trouble was more around money. There was a lot of dishonesty around money, unfortunately.
They wanted your money.
Sheila did, yeah.
Yeah.
Could someone put the? We've just had 2 dogs come in the room. Can someone put them in their house? It's. I'm in my own house at the moment, and we got 2 little dogs, but they just come in and they'll be all over me unless I get them taken away, because I love them to bits and they love me to bits. Yeah.
Well, I didn't have any money, you know. I was just a poor rebel hippie boy. So
I was the opposite. I actually had a publishing company that was paying me a fortune each week for not being there. And when I went to the ranch, I lived in absolute luxury. But I actually wasn't attached to any of it. That's why it was easy for me to give up. In 1987, I gave the lot up. I just gave it to my staff because I wasn't attached to it, and I realised it was actually in the way. It was the very thing that was in the way of me raising my consciousness levels further, and it was in the way of my heart. And I felt that for 33 years I'd wasted my life pursuing success instead of actually pursuing heart, because heart became very, very important to me, because I tasted it and I was like, wow, this is so beautiful. And so after Osho passed, after he left his body, I gave up on enlightenment because I'd lost my master. But I decided to go for heart. I decided to pursue heart. And I just practiced openness. For the next 8 years, I practiced openness and present moment awareness and self-inquiry. And when the Advaita Vedanta teachers came to Perth in 98, 8 years after Osho had passed, I wasn't even interested in them, but they were talking about enlightenment, so I actually decided to go and have a look. The moment the teacher walked in the room, the presence, I found myself as the universe again. All that was required was the presence. And then back to...
That's the power of satsang, no? That's why this is the most important thing. And when you say that, it was like 8 years there, no? You could try everything, but when you are mature, when you really are longing for freedom, then you feel it. It's like instant. And that's why you see also when people are coming now, somebody just connects and somebody has to go through so many different layers of mind, of conditioning and all this.
Well,
but a mature soul connects, no?
Yes. Yes, maturity is a requirement for, I think, higher consciousness and for heart. And unfortunately, there was a lot of immaturity at the ranch in 1985 and 1984. And I think that's what failed Osho, immaturity. Because if he had mature sanyassins running the show, they would never have got involved with what they got involved with, because mature adults don't do that.
But still, then again, you need somebody to run the show, no?
Yes.
That's the thing. Like I told you, this Vidya comes and excuse herself to me. You know, that is the power, that is the money, that is the politicians. You know, but there is no, like Sheila herself, she was never a meditator, no? She was a greedy, powerful Indian mind who wanted, no? So that's the difference. Like when you don't want anything, who wants to get involved? So both is needed in a way also, no? It's a paradox, like everything.
Well, we have people here who run the show. I don't run the show. And they are very dedicated to truth. You know, that's their life. They're dedicated to truth and heart. So it's a very different situation. And they have the maturity. And when you're surrounded by people who have the maturity, everything goes reasonably well. It's only when immaturity, which is selfishness basically, comes into play that things muck up.
Yeah, I'm very happy for you.
I'm very happy too. I'm very happy.
It's the same around me, because it's much smaller, so the master can be involved. That's the difference, no?
Yeah.
You can be involved. So no, everything is beautiful, you know. I don't have those issues, you know.
So we started this morning reasonably early with a visit to Coles. Coles is a supermarket here, and we go to Coles on Monday with a group of sanyassins basically, and we do shopping, and we have so much fun. We get the shopping, we dance in the aisles, we play, and afterwards we go to a cafe and have a coffee and play with some more, and then we just continue to play. And this is Osho's teaching, you know, to squeeze the juice out of life. And so it's very, very beautiful. It's just to be here with these wonderful people who I love to bits.
I totally relate to how you have it. It's very good. I'm very happy, and Osho is also happy, and I'm also, I couldn't be better. It could not be better. It's like it's a perfect human life in peace, in happiness, in bliss, in friendliness, like this.
It is. I do have a question of you though, and I experience myself as stoned off my face most of the time, high as a kite, sitting on top of the mountain, absolutely high. And I ride motorbikes like that, which is a bit dangerous, but it's like most of the time, just gone and high. I wonder if Osho was like that.
Absolutely. You know, I remember, I mean, he loved to drive. Talking about motorbikes, I also always loved motorbikes. I had it in India, I had it in Pune. I've been driving around India. I have motorbike here in Brazil. I drive to the mountains, you know, so I always had motorbikes.
What sort of bike? What sort of bike are you currently driving? What sort of bike are you currently driving?
No, I just have a Honda 250 off-road in the mountains, because I like to go on the mountain roads, no, on the gravel, in the steep. Well, more than, I call it the goat, because I can go in nature also, you know. So it's totally, it's more than wild, it's reckless.
We have 11 riders, I think, in our group, and we ride Harley Davidsons, and we're patched members of an organisation called the Military Brotherhood, who raise funds for veterans' families, and we love it. We go on all these rides. We raise funds for what's called Legacy, which is veterans' families, and it's just a hoot. We were down at Coles this morning in the supermarket on motorbikes, you know.
That's just so great.
Yeah. I think you'd really like it here. You should come. You can stay.
we, I don't have the roads here for Harleys, so that's why I'm more in the mountain. I live on the beach here. It's beautiful. It's paradise. But 3 hours away, we have the big mountains going up till 1,200 meters. So there I have a place too. So that's where I go in the mountains. I'm a mountain boy.
That is so funny because we live in the hills here. We call them the hills, but it's the mountains. And we rent a place down by the ocean full time. So I live 5 nights a week here in the hills, in the mountains, and 2 nights down by the ocean because I teach down there. It's there. It's beautiful. Different people in different places. It's like, wow, life is just so brilliant.
It's very good. Very good. So yeah, we have many things in common like that then.
Yeah, our accent is very similar. I heard that you had a good sense of humor. I heard that you like to laugh a lot.
Me?
No, you.
Yeah. Well, but I'm looking also now at another motorbike, a Bullet, Royal Enfield, because I grew up with those Royal Enfields in India, you know.
So did I. I had a 350.
Yes.
In India.
And now they are here in Brazil. Yeah. So
they're here in Australia too.
So I like that all tuk 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 tuk. So maybe I don't have a Harley, but I can imagine it, no? Tuk 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 tuk.
Oh yeah, it's dug 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 dug. All right, it's very loud. Very loud in the silence.
But you told me the story. It took 8 years before some of the satsang teachers came there, no? But I was in Pune with Osho when he left the body, and I was very much there. It was like a big opening in Satori, but for 1 year after, I was totally in the gap, asked, what now, no? So you were left. And I was leading groups, I was a therapist there, I was totally involved in the ashram. But it was like, what now? The master is gone. And then this change of consciousness and awakening happened when I was very sick, pretty much exactly 1 year after he had left his body. So for me it went, I felt like he was taking care. He gave me the last.
I understand.
Yeah. So, and I was totally in a vacuum, in a peaceful, blissful, empty vacuum for months in Pune, and I couldn't function anymore as I had been before, when I was very busy with the groups and the ashram. I dropped out because I lost myself and found myself. Yeah? You lose your little self and you found the big. And that big self is so vast that I didn't know who I was. It's really like a rebirth, a newborn. No? So the ashram didn't understand what was happening, of course, because and I was lost. I couldn't function anymore. So the only pull I had was to go to Himalayas. And I felt like, and that's what Osho always wanted also, no? That he wanted to die in the Himalayas, and I had this connection. So I was really pulled, and I felt like I go with my master to the Himalayas, no? We were going together. Because I had nobody else. Nobody else. It was only me and the master and I had no idea what was happening, no? Because it never happened before, no? So, and then on that way, in that first year when this was happening, which I didn't know what, I was just a newborn child. I got guided to two great enlightened beings there. One who became my friend, who is still in India, in Himalayas, and the other was Papaji, no? And Papaji took care of me the first morning I came there, like a son. And then he, by being with him, I started accepted what was happening, no?
Yeah.
Because I didn't know, you know.
Yeah.
He told me that no, you are so lucky, you have a strong body, you are young, and you got it. And now you have married somebody that will never divorce you. And I must say that it was true, because we still happily married.
Nice, nice. Yeah, it was Papaji's disciples that I woke up, one of his disciples who had woken up, that I found myself as beingness in front of. And after awakening, which happened about a year after full awakening, because there was just no flipping back to ego, I just sat still for 6 months and stared into space, because I was useless. My wife declared that I'd gone, I'd left her, and she was right, because I'd gone. And I just stared into space for six months until my Advaita Vedanta teacher came back and said, hey, you can't do this, you've got to come out and you've got to be in the marketplace. You've got to be a light so other people can see. And so I started being out here more. I had to learn how to be a human again, because I didn't blink. I just stared into space. Gone, gone, gone. Gate, gate, paragate, parasamagate.
Bodhisvaha.
Yeah. And then people started coming to sit, It's like, now it's been 24 years of trying to help people raise their consciousness levels, find the way of the heart to live. And it's the most beautiful thing to do in the world, teaching the way of the heart. There is nothing more beautiful than being in that service to other human beings, to help them find their hearts. And I can see that you're doing exactly that, which is really lovely. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, for me, I mean, I was living in India at that period after the awakening, and then meeting Papaji also. He told me that I should go and share this in my country and in Europe and like this. And I said, but I live here. And if I find anybody who is interested, I bring them to you. Who am I? I was like a child, no? So for me it took long time, because maybe 5 years before I started coming out, because I just wanted to be in the Himalayas. And I felt like it's so beautiful, and I am in the Himalayas. I have my enlightened friends even around, and I lived free. I had motorbike, I had car, you had beautiful time there. And I was traveling around, visiting, stopping here, stopping there, and for years. But I had no place, like I wasn't in the West, so it took long time before existence, like you said, your friend said you have to go out, but that came more from existence from me. I felt like I couldn't stay there. We have done this in the past lives. And I was kind of resisting. I didn't want to go back to the world, but it happened. And it happened in a beautiful way, that my father was leaving the body, and they told me that he had just a few weeks. So I went back to Norway, and then in a way I was there. So then it started slowly happening. But I just wanted to be in the Himalayas,
Understand.
And I had no
Yeah,
money. I had no money. So when I started giving satsang, and this was happening, and people started coming around, I had no place, I had no money. And I remember I told them that I will give it 1 year, and if money comes, if I can live comfortable in the West, then that is a sign. But otherwise, I go back to India, And I was very ready. But then in that year, everything changed. And after that, that's where I started getting money for the first time in my life. So it was the opposite of you.
Yeah. I understand. I went back after Osho passed. By the way, I was in Pune in just a month before he died. I was there. I was there for 5 months, but I got very, very ill with all the parasites and that. So I came back to Australia a month before he died, before he left his body. But I went on to walk around Australia for 4 years, finding my heart. At the end of it, I realised I needed to be in service, and so I went back to school and trained as a naturopath and psychotherapist, and was working as a psychotherapist for all those years before awakening. But what happened after awakening is people would come, clients would come, and they'd sit in front of me and they'd lose their minds, and I'd say, "What are you here for?" And they'd say, "We don't know," because their minds were disappearing. And so I lost my client base overnight. They just wouldn't come back because there was nothing to talk about. What's your problem? Oh, nothing. There's nothing wrong. It's like, and so I went broke for a while because I lost all my business. I couldn't. People were just losing their minds, and I realized, it really confirmed for my mind that something major had happened, because there was an absolute absence of me and people were losing their minds. And so satsang began, and in earnest, and people did start coming and they did start donating, and I was able to support my family because I had three little kids and a wife to support. But it was very difficult for a while because, man, I didn't know what I was going to do. I had no idea. It's like, what do you do in the West? And so satsang began.
Yes.
Similar in a way. I would have liked to have met you in the early years. You see, I didn't know about Papaji. I thought when Osho passed that there wasn't anyone to go to. I didn't know because I wasn't in India. I came back to Australia, and I didn't know there was anyone out there because Osho led us to believe in a certain way that he was the only one. Well, at least that's how I took it. And I gave up. I gave up on enlightenment, but continued with heart, which is what I thought was valuable here. And then the Advaita Vedanta teachers from Papaji's lineage and Ramana Maharshi's lineage started showing up here, and it was like, whoa, here we are again. The ride begins. And it was a great ride. The next morning after I had that awakening in the presence of this Advaita Vedanta teacher, I was on his doorstep at 6 o'clock the next morning, and they told me to go away. And I said, I'm not going anywhere. I want to see this guy. And he came out and he gave me the Review Gita. I don't know if you know the Review Gita. And I read it, and it was like passage after passage, don't touch the mind with the least trace of thought. And that was my practice from then on, self-inquiry and not entertaining the mind. And so it was Advaita Vedanta methodology that eventually really secured a nobody here, really secured awareness, staying on awareness. And I tried teaching Advaita Vedanta for the next 10 years, but then it really dawned on me that people haven't done the work on themselves. They're not really ready for self-inquiry. They need to do some work on themselves. They need to empty the vehicle out, lose a little bit, become less than.
Yeah.
And I realised that Advaita Vedanta wasn't teaching that. It was just teaching self-inquiry. So I stopped being an Advaita Vedanta teacher and moved to helping people undo themselves, become less than, reverse engineer the mind. And I've been doing that now for 14 years, helping. And it's a wonderful thing, but you have to have courage to play this game. You have to have a lot of courage and a willingness. And so I'm looking for the willing, and the willing come. And it's such a joy to deal with the willing, the ones who are willing to drop everything, to be taken apart for freedom. And so I have a worldwide message, and that is, if you're willing, come and let's play. And I can see that you're playing the same game for the willing.
Yes, and when people come, because it comes many people, I have a whole community around me that has moved here and live here, and in the same in Norway. I have one place here in Brazil, one in Norway. And of course, it's open door, so it's all kinds of people now, because like you say with the inquiry, that is some people. You have people who come who are just totally identified with the body, so they just have that kind of desires and sex and food and fun and like that. So they have to go through that. Then you have the ones that are more intellectual, and then you have the finer artist who needs to go through that. So it's like polishing on many different levels. You have the mental ones, you have the body-oriented, you have the emotional people. And how to mix all that, that's an art, no? But our master, he was a master of that. So that's what he showed. So I'm teaching, I'm a vehicle of my master, I feel. I do, and he was such a great master, the master of masters. So I'm doing that work. We have dance, we have inquiry, we have gibberish, we have laughter, we have crying, we have challenges, we have encounters, we have everything, because people are different. And then slowly, people find their groove, where they are, who they are. But it takes time just to come back to themselves, because people are so lost, so
Yes.
just to come back to the heart and start feeling themselves. Even that is a huge challenge in this world we are living in now. So we are doing great work, What does the world need is love.
I see it the same way, exactly the same way. I'm my master's disciple, and I'm doing my master's work. The same. It could have been me talking just now. I'm listening to you and going, I say that stuff because it's true. He was my master. He showed me this, and now I'm trying to show everybody else.
It's one truth. So anybody,
one truth.
Anybody in the truth, in the one, is same.
Same. Yeah. Yeah, beautiful, man. See, I would love to see a lot more people doing this, because I think it's the only chance the planet of human beings has to raise consciousness levels. Nothing else. To raise consciousness levels. So you're like a light so others may see, and this is so beautiful, because I think this is exactly what Osho wanted. He wanted more lights so more people could see.
Absolutely. And that's the ridiculous thing now of the whole sannyas movement in India or in Pune. Not in India, because they are beautiful, but how it became is already a church, So
I don't agree with it at all.
The enlightened people are not welcome, which is what the master. which is what the master is there for, to wake you up. So it's already like in church. There's no difference.
I was informed I would not be welcome in Pune. I was informed years and years ago that I wouldn't be welcome in Pune. They don't want their authority challenged by someone who's awake.
Yeah, no. But that's okay, who cares?
Yeah, well, it's true. But I do feel like a lot of sannyasins are now coming, but they're the new sannyasins. They're not the old sannyasins. They're the ones who have taken sannyas since Osho passed, left his body. And it's wonderful because they're enthusiastic. But I think that they've been led astray in Pune because I feel quite strongly that if you want to wake up, you need to be around someone who's awake.
Absolutely.
That's what works.
Absolutely.
That's what works.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that. It's like for anything, how can you do? It's impossible. I mean, your own story, no? You were already ready, but it took you 8 years before another light came that ignited, no? So it's like that. And that's the thing, the people, I see so many, because I was with Osho for so many years, in the ashram. I was part of it. In Pune 1 in Oregon, in Pune 2 when he left the body, after that in the leading groups, all that. And I see so many of the old sannyasins, they got stuck. They are stuck. They are holding on to the name and form of Osho.
You can't hold on to anything. Not a thing.
If they really had been longing, they would move on, you know. They would move on.
Yeah.
Which is not to leave the master, of course. It is to become one with the master.
Yeah.
So it's just ridiculous.
I think they collected knowledge, and because they became knowledgeable, they became stuck in the collection of knowledge, which is the booby prize. It's like I teach a way which is be no one, going nowhere. Don't be knowledgeable. Whatever don't be knowledgeable. Let everything go. Let go, let go, let go, let go of everything. Don't collect knowledge. It's not good. Because I did that for years with Osho and then realized, I heard him, he said, don't collect knowledge. And I went, I've been collecting knowledge. You've always got to be a beginner. And as a beginner, you can stay in no mind. As a beginner, you don't have to know. You can let go of control, you know? And it's so wonderful to actually be able to try to teach people that stuff, you know, let go, let go, let go. Don't collect knowledge.
I always been a beginner, and I still am.
Same.
I'm
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. I think it's the only way to remain less than, not more than, not a somebody, but a nobody, going nowhere.
Yeah.
As Osho put it, I think he called it being ordinary.
Yeah, ordinary. I mean, for me, what is enlightenment? What is enlightenment? It's just your original, to be ordinary, to be yourself. But nobody is themselves. So it becomes extraordinary.
Yep.
So let's play.
I'm playing with you. I'm enjoying you. You're fun. Yeah. I can also feel you. I've been insensitive my whole life. I can feel people. I can feel you. I can feel your presence. It's nice. Yeah, definitely.
It is nice to meet somebody who has finished with the work, no? Because we are also used to always dealing with people on the path, no? And
Yes.
I have enlightened friends, and I met Girida, I met Ramesh, I met Papaji, I met Kiran Bhai, I met many people who is my friends, also Osho sannyasins, but they are very different, and most of them are Indians, no? So it's a different thing. Like we are Western, we are rebels, we drive the motorbike, we laugh, we meditate, we are like, so it's nice.
Yes. Well, we're bringing it into the West as Westerners. I've Westernized it completely. I've taken most of the smells and bells and superstitions out of it and just made it very pragmatic, so Westerners can buy it. The way it was packaged in India, you had to be into a certain level of things to get it, but in the West, it's now here. It rides a motorbike now. And it goes out and dances in the streets. And it goes shopping. Yeah, very beautiful, man. I may have met you when I was with Osho in Pune. Were you in Pune too?
Yeah, the
You
whole
were,
time.
because you were there when he passed. Yeah, yeah. I may have met you. I don't know.
In fact, I was taking care of the guards again then, in Lao Tzu house.
Yeah, I was never allowed to get that close.
Well, you know how it goes when you are close to the light, huh? The light might absorb you.
It does. When I with the Advaita Vedanta teachers.
That's why
Go ahead.
people are afraid of coming close, no?
Yes, because they start disappearing. They start losing themselves. Yes. Yes.
But what is better than disappearing?
Nothing. Oh, heart. Hang on. Heart's pretty good. But once I realised that these teachers were awake, these Advaita Vedanta teachers were awake, I started hosting them. You come over, you can stay with me, I'll drive you around, I'll feed you, I'll take care of you. And I loved it because they'd come into my house with their presence, and at night time I'd just sit and just go, whoa, you know. And then eventually, just nobody here, just gone. And it's so lovely to be nothing, going nowhere.
Yes.
And trying to convince people of that is another story.
Well, like sometimes I say, it's a long way, the whole sadhana, the whole journey to come back to yourself. No, that's the whole seeking. No, to come back to oneself, to find oneself.
It is.
But then,
Yes, it is.
in a way, that is just half the journey, because then you are lost. There's nobody there. So then you have to learn how to function again.
That's right. I had to learn how to function again. I had to become a human being again because I'd lost being a human being completely. I was just nothingness. And I had to learn to look away when I talked to people because I found that just staring with eyes open intimidated people. So I had to learn to look away and blink. I had to learn to become a human being again after 6 months of staring into space. Because people can't really meet me where I'm at, so I come down and meet them where they're at in their personalities. Because like you, I live as silence and stillness. I don't live as a noise. And I go and meet people where they're at. So I play this game, this wonderful game with this avatar, this spacesuit.
That's how it is. But it's so nice to meet each other.
Indeed it is. I didn't know that we'd have anything to say to each other because in a lot of ways it's silence meeting silence. Yeah. But I think I could have a lot of fun with you.
Fun.
You strike me as a very beautiful man. You know, the body, the avatar. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, very much so.
I don't know if there's anything more to say. Maybe your friend has something, because he just had one question and then we got lost.
No, we didn't get lost.
No, we are lost.
That's what I'm saying. We are already lost.
Yeah.
Yes, Maitreya.
Maitreya, say something.
Well, yeah, I did have lots of questions, but I think what happened was beautiful, and I think it was better than any of my questions.
Yes.
Just conscious of the time, we had agreed to meet for an hour, and we're very close to an hour now. So we can either end it here, and maybe we can organize another time to have the two of you have another conversation. But it depends on how much time you have, Swaha and Vishrant.
I think it's time to end.
Yeah, me
Yeah,
too.
that's fine.
Me too.
I have enjoyed this immensely. It has been lovely to meet you, Swaha.
And no, we are together now.
Yes. Well, we always were. I see everyone as myself, just myself. Everyone is me, and I love everybody. And there's no choice in that. It's just love, 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 love. Beautiful, man. Thank you very much. It was nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. A big hug to you.
Indeed. Ah, yeah. If you ever come to Australia, come and you can stay with me,
Okay.
because I'd love to play.
Okay. Only if I can ride your Harley.
I have 3 of them. We could ride one each, and we could have someone else ride another one.
Yeah, it's good. Ciao.
Yeah, ciao.
Much love.
Thank you very
Much love.
much. Love.
Much love.
Thank you, Maitreya.
Thank you both so much.
Ciao.
Bye-bye.